Your job is to build yourself up and fuck everybody else around you and their opinions.
Because I think she's also asking two separate things, you know. You're asking, here's one thing. By the way, when you forgive somebody, you're not actually giving them anything. It's actually more for you.
Yeah.
When you forgive somebody and you choose to empathize with somebody's situation, it gives you understanding and it allows you to let go. You're not actually doing it for them. Mm-hmm. You have to understand this is, I mean, I don't know if people agree or disagree with this, but when I forgive somebody, I'm not doing it for you.
Yeah.
I'm doing it for me.
And forgiveness doesn't mean you're completely allowed to come into my life.
Exactly.
Forgiveness is just, I understand that you made a mistake. And I'm moving past that.
Yeah.
Now.
Like when I say like I forgive somebody who has done some fucked up things in my past, that's not an all access pass back into my life.
No.
That doesn't mean I ever forget all the stuff that you've done.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that it's a representation of who that person is now. It's a representation of where I want to be and where I'm at now. So if I forgive this person who did some fucked up things, I'm saying like, listen, I don't want to hold this shit against you because it weighs me down.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that I have to let that person back in.
Yeah. Forgiveness to me is like releasing the thought.
Yeah. So you can live.
So you don't hold on to the pain. You don't keep thinking about it. You go, you know what? I'm moving on. So this is a release. But I think a lot of people confuse forgiveness with I'm going to let you have my trust again.
Yeah, those are two different things.
It's very different because trust is things that you have to nurture and build over time.
Yeah.
You have to take baby steps into it, right? Just because you forgive someone doesn't mean that now they have this like open arm, come back into my life. Everything is the way that it's going to be, you know, or should be or whatever. That's not the same shit.
And we'll have that conversation too, where some people will say, you know, I'm pretty sure we've heard people in our life say this. They go, I thought you forgive me. I thought we're cool.
Yeah.
No, I forgave you. Doesn't mean we're cool though.
Yeah.
It means that, you know, now I can be very cordial with you.
Yeah.
So I don't want you to confuse that. Like Joe said, everything is a process, right? So if you do want to let your parents back into your life, and, you know, people do have this phrase where they say, you know, you only get one set of parents, 100% true, but it doesn't really erase all the stuff that they've done to you in the past. I'm not telling you to hold on to these things. And I'm also not telling you at the same time is to just openly just let them back into your lives. You have to understand, where are you at right now?
Yeah.
If you're a strong enough individual where you can go ahead and talk to your father who is incarcerated, talk to your father who made a choice to leave you.
Yep.
If you have the mental capacity, if you have the wherewithal to withstand that, then please, by all means, when you are ready, do it.
Yeah.
But it's going to take steps. It's
Yep.
not something that you're going to say, okay, you know what? I feel like I'm being fucked up to my dad. I'm just going to let him right in. No, pump your fucking brakes.
Yep.
And then take those steps. Maybe send him a letter, right? Start there. Ask him questions, get to know him a little bit. And even with your mom too, if you want to make that choice to have that person in your life, it's going to be completely up to you. There is no set of fucking rules. If your heart is not ready for that stuff, if you're in a stage of life right now, like you said, where you're still a part of a gang and you're still trying to figure that part out, well, maybe we'll address that later. Right? Let's get to the forgiveness and empathy part first.
Yep.
And then we'll pick up on those parts, because as of right now, what it sounds like is that your life right now is kind of on very shaky stilts, right? Like you don't really have your balance yet.
Yeah. Work on you, find stability, and you're doing the best thing is you realize that you got to cut certain people away.
That's the hard part.
I hate that saying. People go, "Oh, blood is thicker than water," or like, fuck that. Fuck that. You need to be like, this is why I recommend everybody to, like, if you can, move away for college, find your own person, move away from the city that you're in, because we become so dependent on the opinions of family and friends.
Yeah.
Like, and the more people are in your ear, or the more you constantly worry about what people think of you, you don't have the ability to form your own thoughts and your own words. Those are other people's words. So what I mean by that is, like, we're constantly talking to ourselves in our minds, right? Like, it's constantly running, and most of it could be like worrying about what other people are thinking or whatever. That's why, you know, sometimes these hippies go out and they go, I gotta find myself, so I'm gonna frolic in the motherfucking Indian jungle, you know? But they got a good point, because you need to be in a completely new environment where you're not doing the same routine.
Yeah.
and you're a different person and no one knows who you are, and if you can't afford it or you can be in just a different place, right? And they see you differently and you're treated differently, like you're going to start thinking different. And I think that's super important to do for everyone. You have to have your own thoughts. You have to be strong and you have to be sure of yourself before you go into these situations, because the thing that a lot of people don't do is like, a lot of people might watch their spending, but there's emotional spending. And we only have so much on a daily basis, right? And a lot of people are just irresponsibly giving away their like stress.
Man, that shit's, dude, this is like some stuff that we've been going through this year alone.
Yeah.
It's dealing with other people's stress to the point where it starts to diminish us on our everyday.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize this stuff. Like, I didn't get it either, because I'm trying to be the good friend. I'm trying to have an open ear and an open heart and an open mind. But there's a certain point where there's too much take and not enough give.
Yep.
And it starts to wear us out mentally and emotionally, and it starts to affect my personal life.
Yep.
So we have to be very mindful of this stuff as well. And there was a question that you asked at the end too, which was very interesting. You said, am I being too stubborn to let anyone in due to my defense mechanisms, or do I have a right to feel and force the way I feel? I think that's a very weird way to question. I don't think we're talking about enforcing negative habits, right? I don't think you should enforce a negative habit, but you should understand why you do have a defense mechanism for letting people close to you.
Yeah.
Once you start to understand that, and it seems like in your case, therapy would be a very good situation. If you don't have positive people in your life right now that you could speak to and give you lend you an ear to listen to all these problems, therapy might be the route for you. It's not for everybody. It doesn't work for everybody, but it seems like for me, in your case, it sounds like therapy would work.
Yeah.
Just because I don't want you to feel like having your walls up 24/7 to everybody is a good habit to have. I think it's smart. I think it's smart to keep your shit close to your chest. But when you kind of let your past define you and your future relationships, this is where like kind of problems will begin to sprawl out, just because like you don't know who to trust anymore. You're not really practicing developing relationships now. Now every time that you're with somebody, you have a red flag up and you're expecting people to fail around you, which I have seen consistently